guys? Welcome to the Might As Well podcast. This is episode 14, which is pretty cool. We've been getting into it. This is the third one I'm doing with Dan. And we might have some audio stuff happening. It might be like in one ear, but
my
screw it.
mic.
He was working hard. He's been helping me produce this.
I
I'm
tried
grateful.
to fix
Yeah.
it for you guys.
He's working his ass off. But I wrote in my journal, I was just like patience and persistence, and we didn't get it like exactly how we
we
wanted
hope that
to.
you still listen.
Yeah. We hope that you still listen. Alright. I didn't even really have anything specific to start this one off, but I just wanted to say this one thing I heard and start it off for you with this. So, if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. And it said, if you are determined to learn, no one can stop you. And what do you think about that? I'll read it again. If you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. If you're determined to learn, no one can stop you. Like, analyze that. What do you think of that?
I mean, that quote really resonates with me because, like, there's so many times where you can tell people something that will better them in the end, but they're not open-minded enough in that situation to take that in and find a place where that can hold value in their life.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's like what got us to where we are now. Not like we're creating any distinction between us and anybody else, but like for our own personal growth, like we were open to what other people had to say or like opposing ideas on what we previously thought about things. And it brought us to this point where we can grow exponentially and you know,
that's so true.
see improvement.
And when you keep on learning, like, no one can stop you. Like, you're just gonna keep on, because knowledge is power. So
Knowledge is power. And I mean, my teacher today in one of my classes, he said you guys need to read more.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, I know I read, but it's like, he was like, if you can read, like if you have the skill to read, you can teach yourself anything.
That's true.
And I mean, that's why I buy so many books and everything, and like with all this science and everything, because like you really can teach yourself anything. When you read, it's like a whole experience.
Yeah.
But even just aside from reading, like having conversations with people, or like maybe someone's telling you something, trying to give you some advice, like you're not always right all the time. Or like even if you're not right, or even if you are right, like there's still value in listening to the other side of something in a conversation or a discussion.
That's something I heard, like, you should listen more, talk less. And I think that's really important.
Yeah, that's something I have been realizing more for myself. Like, no matter how much, I mean, we talked about this the last time, and I was literally looking at the podcast before you came over. One section was, a wise man knows that he knows nothing.
Yeah, I love
but
that
like
quote.
Since then, that has just been like becoming more and more relevant in my life. And it's like, no matter how much you know, you are not better than any other person, and their opinion is equally valuable as yours, and you can always hear someone out.
Yeah, because we're all on this spiritual journey too, and just because someone's not at no one's going to be at the same path that you're at, but if you can recognize that someone's not like as spiritually aware, like, you should also recognize that they're just on their path and like not judge them for that.
Sure. And I mean, that's something I struggled with like a lot since the last time. Like, there's still like, because when you're empathetic like this, like, you really just want the best for someone. And in so many situations, I would be telling people things, and like they'd be on their path, I'd be on my path, but like I'd be experiencing things on my path where it's like, you need to like understand this, because like how I'm feeling like needs to be shared, or like I want this for you too. But it's like, they're their own individual. They have their own path, their own experience and scope that they see the world in, and like you need to give them time.
Like it says, if you're not willing to learn, no one can help you. Like, so if people like aren't open-minded, like you said, like as much as you want to help them and like share the knowledge and like tell them to like think differently about themselves and stuff like that and like what they can do, like if they're not, like you can lead the horse to water but you can't make it drink, so if they're not ready for it, like you just gotta like let them and just like let them go on their journey, like
for sure,
because no one can like save you but yourself, honestly. And I think that's like something you realize too, like where you want to help other people but you realize like they can only help themselves.
That's key.
And like that's what it says, like no one can help you because like really like you're the only one. And then it says like once you start learning, that's when like no one can stop you, because there's also going to be people that like will like not even intentionally like want to stop you, but through like their fears and their doubts, like
for sure
they'll like want to stop you like subconsciously.
Yeah. And
like it's really crazy. And I want to say something else, like just like about your fears and stuff. I don't even know. Just like being open-minded.
No, for sure. I mean, even with where I am now and what I just said, like if I wasn't determined to learn or better myself, then I would still be holding on to people and trying to get them to the spot I'm at and distract them from their journey.
I remember what I wanted to say now. It's kind of like what you were talking about like realizing like I'm basically like something I realized is like I'm nothing, and like that sounds like funny, but like
I completely understand.
Like, earlier, like about your journey and like realizing like it's bigger than you, like because that's what you got to realize. Like some people like are gonna be like
it's all bigger than you. Everything's bigger. Like you're not.
So we're just a collective, and we're all one. So like you judging other people is like really like judging yourself at the end of the day, and like you just got to realize like it's way bigger than you. So like as we grow and like have more people are gonna recognize like who we are and what we're doing and stuff, and like you can get praise for that, and I feel like that can like build up your ego and stuff. But like
for sure,
as I'm growing and like getting my name out there more, I'm also like coming to this understanding that I'm nothing, and it's like a very like paradoxical thing.
It is,
but it's like a balance you need. Like I realize like I'm nothing, like in the grand scheme of things, like I'm nothing, but at the same time like I am something and I'm everything at the same time, like, and it's like very cool. Like so you just gotta like realize like you're limitless, but like at the end of the day like you're nothing. And that's something like I've been like coming to peace more.
Same,
and like
for sure.
And I think that's something I lost. Like I started like
no, definitely it's something I kind of got not well I mean no, let's not sugarcoat it. We got like there's times where you get peeled off the track sometimes, and like you got to readjust yourself. But I mean, shit like that isn't really linear. Recovery isn't linear. Growth isn't linear. Like,
I think that's what we want in our system, where it's like elementary school, middle school, high school, college.
I mean, that's like what we're taught, career, basically.
And like
math. Everything's linear. It's equation that just goes sequence to sequence to sequence. In a sequential matter, like
you gotta realize that shit is bouncing
a methodical
all around,
matter.
Like,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
And if you think about it, we can think about the past, we can think about the future. You know, like imagine stuff, relive the past. So like we can time travel, like just in our minds.
In our minds, that's something I think about all the time, and for those changes to be relevant, and I'm gonna tie this in with like what we were talking about before, like everyone's on their own journey, and you can't really help anybody unless you can truly help yourself. Like whether you know it or not, subconsciously there will be judgments getting in the way of you and another person, or you and yourself, when you are observing other people's behavior and you're just thinking about trying to fix it. And like how you said, it's like a reflection of yourself. You're you're basically judging yourself. And that's something I realized, like I started to make more changes for myself individually, and like it's only benefited me in ways where I can help other people without like.
And you'll think it's selfish, but really it's like selfish.
No, it's not. It's selfless because you're doing it for.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for other people. You do it for other people.
Yeah.
You know, you just want to, at the end of the day, you just want to be the best person that you can to help people.
It's like selfish, like to not like do what's best for yourself and just like, because then you're like feeding on like other people's stuff that's like shouldn't exist, honestly. Like,
no, for sure.
You're doing like bad for other people. You're doing bad for yourself. It's like, you really got to do what's best for yourself. And when you do what's best for yourself, like if you're truly a good person, like, and that's like, I'm not saying like stomp on other people, but like sometimes when you got to do what's best for yourself and like let go of things that aren't serving you, people that aren't serving you, like, you're going to end up helping them like in the long run. Like,
for sure.
So,
because if you feel toxic or toxicity, they have to be feeling toxicity too.
Yeah.
And if you really want the best for that person, you got to let stuff like that go.
Yeah.
Or like create the distance so you guys can grow.
Yeah. Something I heard today was like, it's like, so it was Alan Watts talking about just like how everything like is always changing. Mm-hmm. Like, if he's like, we're not the same people like before we walked in this house like together. Like, we're not the same people like we were like now. Like,
neuroplasticity.
What is that?
That's the brain's ability to change. Like, each experience changes the brain and molds it in a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I was talking to you about.
So it's like the proof.
Yeah, I mean, it's in books. A lot of the books I read, your brain is very plastic, meaning it's very malleable to changes and experience.
I definitely feel like a new person, like after like traveling and stuff, and you always get that feeling because you see new stuff and like experience new things.
You literally become a new person.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'm a new person since the last time we did the pod, and like
definitely.
And but the quote I heard is like, "There's nothing to hold on to, so let go." And like I was like, I love that little like line. Yeah. Like Alan Watts has like those good lines, like
the short simple but
like
sweet hits that spot where you're like,
there's something about it where it has to like, it has to just like make sense and like, but also like have that deeper spiritual meaning.
It's humbling,
like,
but it puts things in perspective for you.
Like everything, like there's nothing to hold on to, so let go. It's like, there's nothing to hold on to, so like, what are you holding on to? And you realize that we create these like things, like these things in our minds, like we create those illusions and like stress ourselves out. But really, like everything's always changing, so like you can just go with that flow and accept that and like detach from the universe, honestly.
That's like I have a quote in my notebook right here, and it says, "It's a mistake to think that when we read a book, attend a class, and implement changes that will fix everything. The externals will never be perfect, and the goal isn't perfection. Life is not going to go your way. You have to go your way and take life with you." Yeah. And I think that ties in with what you just said about letting go, like holding on to those things that I just read, like stuff you find in a book or a class, or implement changes. Like, there's no guarantee. You know what I mean?
I think that's something with us being young. Like, we're just starting to step out, and that's like really scary because like we have this whole past and like safety and
for sure
youth, childhood that we're like holding on to, but we gotta let that go. And then
mature.
And it opens things up. But like, I forget what I was gonna say. Like you said, like you gotta live your life and like go your way, like, and you go your way and like life will like follow or something.
You have to go your way and take life with you.
Yeah. And I feel that like when we were talking like before we started recording, just like about like you said you don't really have a plan, and I think that's something like I would say to like young people like going to college, like leaving high school, like screw a plan. Like you don't like, that's like some bullshit idea that you need a plan. Like you just gotta go with the flow. And then once you start living life, like literally, like imagine it like Minecraft or something.
Yeah.
Like, once you get out in the world, like it's gonna start like loading up. Like the simulation is gonna like generate something for you. And like once you start thinking right, and this is like where manifestation and stuff like that comes in. Like when you're thinking positive and like monitoring your thoughts and like gardening your mind and like getting rid of the weeds, the negative thoughts, and like watering the positive thoughts, like metaphorically, like
the grass is greener where you water it.
Yeah, that's so true. It's like, yeah, like people think the grass is greener, like
on the other side. Yeah, it's not. It's where you put that attention.
Yeah, and like if you just focus on yourself, like in your mindset, like that's everything. Like
it is.
What was I saying? Like to start that? Yeah. So like once you like, you don't really need to understand the how. You just need to understand like what you want to do, and like once you start like just jumping into it, like things are gonna load up. Like go to a new city and start walking around. Like you'll be surprised like who you're gonna meet. Like a lot of things. Like the universe works in very funny ways, and God works through people.
No,
so.
definitely, and I mean, like. Worrying about the how, I mean, it's human to do that. That's not something you should feel bad about.
Yeah.
And I feel like when people talk about ideas like that and this, and it's like some people could get the wrong idea or like hold on to different or like a certain idea that will put them in a more troubled spot.
Yeah.
But it's like It's the same thing with like what you said. There's nothing to hold on to.
Yeah.
You don't have to hold on to that. There's always
what a lot of people are holding on to is like they're holding on to their status compared to other people and like what they're doing, and they feel like everybody else like has a plan and has stuff figured out and like knows what they want to do with their lives, but
then that puts pressure on them. They create this whole reality that they have to do something.
Yeah.
Now
and then they become they hit 23, 24, and like they quickly realize like that's not what they want to do.
Especially now.
Yeah.
Like right now, for that reflection to take place is very
because we see all these opportunities we see through the system, and we're not as willing as like past generations to just jump in a career and be like, this is what I'm doing until 65. Like there's something about our generation where we're more free. Like I feel like
definitely
we see. I think, well, I'm not going to speak for everybody because there's definitely a lot of people that like being enslaved.
I know what you mean.
There's people that like being told what to do and, you know, collecting unemployment and all that stuff. Like, there's people that want to like rely on the government for everything. Like, and then there's people that like want to like, you know, start something for themselves, like make a name for themselves. For sure. Like, use social media, use the internet, like connect with people. Like, and the world's getting a lot smaller, and like, we're able to like see through a lot and like learn a lot like at our fingertips.
I think it's important to see through, and like you said, screw having a plan. Like right now is not the time to have a plan unless you truly feel that plan.
And what you said, like everyone, like I still think about like what it's like I'm like how, like I always think about the how and stuff like that because that's just, it's natural. But then I remind myself about years in the past and like to now, and how I didn't even imagine this would happen. Mm-hmm. And like everything's turned out like way cooler than I've expected. And that just shows me like you don't need to like understand the how, like you just gotta like live your life and like get out there and like and you're gonna meet people and like make connections, and everything like comes together, and it's really cool.
I mean, like you just said, like things will happen, but you also like not worrying about the how doesn't include like just wishful thinking, if you know what I mean. Like you still need to take action and like put that into the works. But like I was saying before, like that's where figuring out your values and like what you truly value becomes very important, especially now, because I started not realizing this recently, but like I started thinking about it a lot more. Like all this information that we have at this age like this type of demographic of our age group, like we're bombarded with all of this information, and psychologically we're growing into adults. Like our brains are maturing. We're figuring out, like we're analyzing and we're figuring out which spaces we fit in life.
Yeah.
What we really like, you know, where those things could lead us and where we think they can lead us, like who we really are going to become.
Yeah.
And when you're distracted like that and you don't know what you're doing and you're confusing yourself with a plan or confusing yourself with where you are by comparing yourself to other people, you're losing out on time to truly figure out what is best for yourself. You
I was listening
do things that don't really resonate with you.
I was listening to this Ram Dass lecture, and he was talking about like work and money, and he was just saying like whatever you do, like really, he was saying like really like what you do in the physical doesn't matter as much as like your spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And like he was saying, say you hoard money, say you give money away, whatever you do, like there's gonna be like karmic consequences from that. So like you're always gonna be learning, and that's kind of like what we were saying about like just different people at different points in their spiritual journey. I got something in my throat. Like that's gonna just set you down so many different paths. So like if no matter what you do, no matter what happens, like you're gonna like learn spiritual lessons. So maybe you start to do something that you don't really like, and then you like realize it's not what you want to do. Like what? Like there's gonna be like consequences with that whatever you do. Like there's gonna be struggles like whatever you do. Like people talk about like the pursuit of happiness and stuff like that, but like life isn't always about like being like super happy. It's about like it's about like suffering, honestly, and like there's too much like
for sure.
And that's like something with like dopamine and stuff. Like we're getting like so much like pleasure, and like the body can't take it. Like we need to like work out and like go through like
that's our motivation. If we're happy all the time, then what do you really have to strive for?
And like talk about your brains, like I heard that just makes your brain like soft and like mush. Like they're turning our brains to fucking good.
Literally. I mean, like, where do you really learn?
Yeah.
What is happiness without suffering?
It's just social media, like it's just numbing your brain, really. And even like music and all that stuff too, like it's like Netflix and
for
everything.
Sure.
All the entertainment.
I don't have Instagram, TikTok, or Twitter on my phone. Like I deleted it.
That's good.
It just came to a point where it's like, this is not for me. Like I can't look at this. Yeah. It like, one, disrupts me. 2, it makes me feel bad for other people. And like the world.
Yeah.
And 3, both of those things together, it's just like,
it's really toxic. That's why I'm like
toxicity. Yeah.
I want to like clean it up, like just like stuff like this.
No,
like,
for sure.
I mean, I think we can use it for good.
No, we definitely.
And it's definitely being used for good already, and it's on like the momentum's good for it. Like,
there's definitely good for social media, and it's not. I mean, aside from social media, let's just sum it up to technology in general, because I wouldn't have even met you if it wasn't for phones and shit like that. Yeah. But like, and that can go for like a bunch of people. Like, I wouldn't have met many people if I didn't have the technology I do have, which I'm more than grateful for. But it's also like the way that we use this technology is crucial. The way these companies use technology is crucial. Like, I don't know if you watched The Social Dilemma, but like, I already knew a lot about like what social media did to an individual. Yeah. But after watching that and seeing the people who like developed these technologies or these artificial intelligences in the documentary and like telling you what the goal was for that and like what the results are now. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All these companies really want to do is just have you on their app for as long as they can have you on it. And they don't really care about anything else. That's their money.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. Of course, all they want is just like you. Just
your attention is their currency.
Yeah. Your data.
Yeah.
That's what they realize in the social dilemma. Like, they make you realize, like, how you're an asset to them. Like, and it's like if
you are their asset.
Yeah. And it's like, if it's free, like, you're the product.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And I don't know if you saw it. You might not watch like TV or anything, but there's this like commercial. There's this commercial, and it's like an auction, and it's like selling your data. It's like, oh, like your emails, your browsing history, like your time on TikTok or whatever, and it's like an auction of just like all that stuff. And then it's like, I forget I think it's like an iPhone commercial. It's something like, because then it shows like how you can like use the app, like ask not to track, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like Apple privacy or whatever.
Yeah, it was like an Apple privacy commercial or something like that. But I just think it's funny how they like show like them auctioning off your data, because like they do sell it to like all those companies and stuff.
Yeah,
and,
they
like,
do.
And that's why, like, I was talking to somebody, and then they were like, they think like, he's like, you know, when people think like your stuff's like listening to you, and then that's when you like have like an ad or something like come up.
That shit happens all the time.
But they were saying like it's really just because like they know your data so well, like they know what you want. Like, it's not even that they're listening to you, like the AI and stuff just like knows your data.
That's literally, I mean, that's literally what it does.
Yeah.
It takes all of your data and it literally knows what you like.
Yeah.
Not like physically, but like literally like what you enjoy.
Did you ever see did you ever hear the story about Target and like the pregnancy and stuff?
No.
And the data? My teacher told us about this like in health in like high school. She was like, this chick like was pregnant, and she didn't tell her dad. She was in high school and she was pregnant. She didn't tell her dad, and like she started like buying stuff like at the Target. So then like the Target data like sent like coupons to her house like for like prenatal stuff, like all like stuff like when you're having a baby. And yeah, so he's looking at the coupons and he's like, why are you sending these to like my daughter? And he got all pissed at like the Target and was like, you're sending this pregnancy stuff to my teenage daughter, like you guys, like he was pissed off. And then he goes and finds out that his daughter was pregnant, and like the Target data just knew from like the stuff that she was buying that she was like pregnant, and like was sending her those coupons. And like it was like crazy. The Target data knew she was pregnant before like her own father did, which is crazy. And that's like,
what class was that?
That was in health.
Oh,
and it just shows because we were talking about like pregnancy or stuff, and it just shows how the data knows, and like AI and all that stuff like knows more about us than like we know about ourselves, like than our family knows about us, like 100%.
Shows you everything you like. How many hours are you on your phone, and how much enjoyment do you get with being on your phone and scrolling?
Yeah.
People literally sit in their chairs or in their bed and they just scroll. They don't even know why.
Yeah.
They're doing it.
The doom
and
scrolling.
They don't even know how or why it's happening.
Yeah. I do it sometimes.
Everybody does it.
Yeah.
But it's dopamine going like, because your phone knows exactly what to put in front of you, so you're sitting there for another minute scrolling, liking.
Commenting. I don't do it that much. It will like be like rare, and like I notice it too, so I feel like that's like where I can like be self-aware. But something I heard too, it's like the problem, the part of you that like wants to fix parts of you is like the part of you that you have to fix.
Yeah.
And I've been on this like Alan Watts, like Ram Dass like vibe recently, just listening to lectures, and like They really do have a positive influence
Judgment.
on you. Yeah.
I mean, that's basically judgment, you know? I mean, I agree with that. I feel like the more that you...
It's like your ego.
Yeah.
And the ego will, like, judge the world and, like... we all want things to be, like, our way. And, like, we need to, like, surrender to, like, God's way, you know?
Nature's way.
Yeah.
How we are intended to be. Because realistically, we're not made to think about all of the stuff that we really think about on a day-to-day basis. Like,
yeah,
we're sophisticated beings, but our biology is not able to keep up with that. When we think about other people, when we see other people, even like literally just through here, like comparisons like that, or making you like you telling yourself you need to do something because of like what you saw in another person or whatever, like that's only setting you back farther than where you want to be, whether you know it or not. And you're creating more distance between you and your actual self.
Yeah. So true. What do you think, like, the true self is?
I don't know. Honestly.
Yeah, that's a
like,
good answer.
Like you said, like, you're, like, nothing.
Yeah.
Before. Which might sound a little blunt, but, I mean...
Yeah. That's
it's true.
Like, they argue, like, is there a true self? Like, is there a higher self? Is it all one? Is there nothingness after death? Like, who knows, like, what it is? Like, and that's something, like, you gotta, like, question. Like, everyone's gonna have their own, like, ideas on it.
No, for sure.
Really, you gotta go within yourself. Like, all the answers are within yourself. Like, it's really, like, in your DNA and stuff.
I think they're like, I mean, it gets paradoxical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because on one hand, you could say, yes, there is a self because you have preferences unique to yourself.
Yeah.
But also, while having that, you can be objective. You can detach from that. And books I've read and podcasts I've listened to have said, or even just data that I've looked up, it's just like the sense of self is actually just a mechanism that is created by your brain. It's like what your ego is. Yeah. It's just a defense mechanism that's created by your brain. And where we are now with our evolution and lives and how we just are as a species, like, we don't need that anymore. Like,
yeah,
we're not out in the wild trying to survive. There's not like lions or like other animals like chasing us and stuff.
Yeah.
We're not scavenging for food.
Yeah.
Trying to like...
It's kind of like the hierarchy of needs or something like that. Like,
literally. Like...
Yeah. So we could
we're
like...
set.
So, yeah.
We need to be thinking and reflecting on...
Yeah. Living through
that nature of ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, and like...
And push through that.
That's what you say. Like, it's like 2022. Like, we have this technology. Like, why do we still have these wars? Like, why... I mean,
we're reacting with our technology in a primitive way.
Yeah, that's true.
And everything around us.
Yeah.
Which is our ego.
Yeah. We could use these resources like way better and just like use our resources to take a time and like reflect. Like if we all like, that was like the good thing about like the lockdown, like in a way, like if we had like more time again like that where everything like just like chilled out for a little bit, we just like had time like to reflect on ourselves and like
that's
reflect
the only reason why I am who I am today, or at least that led me to who I am.
I mean,
right now.
everyone can like everyone has to say that.
No, for sure.
But being young, it did definitely like in this last 2 years we were gonna grow no matter what, but like because of what happened, like we can all like attribute like that to it, like
for sure.
in a way.
And that could be for the better or for the worse for someone.
Yeah.
But for me personally, from the perspective of my experience, like I've came to so many realizations since then, and that time really allowed me to reflect on myself and realize, like, I'm not the only thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's other people. They're all individual. They have their own scope. And what do I need to do to prove myself to anybody else? Like, why do I need to compare?
Yeah.
Why do I need...
And it's like all within, and like when you say stuff to people, they don't even understand it. So it's like, that's something I heard too. Like,
because there's
just like the wise, quiet person, like that's just like smiling, like and like quiet, because they just like have that inner knowing.
That's
you know
me
what
now.
That's
I mean,
me now. I'm
like literally, like
I'm on my monk.
I'm on my monk shit. Literally, I just finished a book called Think Like a Monk.
Yeah.
And it really resonated with me, and it is putting me on the path of like where I really want to be, or where I've been striving to be, because like we said before, like growth isn't linear.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a math equation. Like it's random.
Mm-hmm.
Things will happen here and there, but all you can really do is learn how to weave yourself through experiences.
And it's just like keeping your peace through the highs and lows. Like sure. Happiness and sadness, like they're gonna come, and it's just like having that peace and like accepting and like loving things as they are, and not wanting to change or think about like what ifs and stuff like that. Excuse me. And what were we talking about then? Just like your inner knowing and stuff.
Inner knowing, and I was talking about the monk. Think like a monk, and just standing back, knowing.
And like accepting things as they are. I was saying, like, it's so important.
It is so important.
And that's something like, it's so much easier just to like have that like spiritual acceptance and like stop like holding on to like your expectations and like your wants and stuff like that. Like,
for sure.
And just like,
it's very important.
Realizing like, kind of like with COVID and all that stuff, like how like it was like shitty, but it led us to who we are. Like, just realizing that balance of like, you know, the good and the bad in life, and like that's like gonna like shape you who you are, and like you wouldn't just like want all good, because like you don't learn when things are going all good. Like,
you don't.
And that's why I realized like about like praise and stuff. Like, you really like, it's like, you know, like it will feel good and it can like inspire you and motivate you, but like it's not everything. Like, it's not why you do what you do. Like, you do it for yourself. Like, you create because you have that vision, and like there's something in you that like wants to get it out.
Yeah. And
like when people like will talk on your name and like throw hate your way and stuff, like I've had people like, you know, talk about like the podcast and stuff. Like somebody was like, you three idiots, you stoned idiots talking about saving money or something. This was like a while back. Yeah. And that was like the first. I saw the comment. Honestly, it was like the first hater I had, but I got hype. I was like,
no, that should motivate you.
Like, and not even in like the motivate. Like, I was mad. Like, I literally laughed about it, and I was like, all right, we got a hater. And he was like, and like the way he talked about the podcast like validated it in a way too. Like, I was just like, all right. It was like funny.
For sure.
But like I also had hate where like, you know, it can knock you off your track, and like you can think about it like more deeply than I thought about that.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And like that's like something you gotta realize, like not to give that power either. Like you really can't believe like any of it, like, and just like stick to your inner knowing, like I was saying. Like,
there's people that want to bring you down because of where you are.
Yeah.
Like how you just like said before, at the beginning of this podcast, like when you judge other people, you're really judging yourself.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it is when other people are judging you when you're in a good spot.
Yeah.
And you live out your life
yeah.
with that passion of being in a good spot.
Yeah.
And knowing your values, knowing yourself, like, people will come after you.
Yeah.
Not literally, but, you know.
It's so easy because it's so easy to, like, talk and, like, win. It's so easy, especially in our social media world, too. Like,
oh, yeah.
It's really, like, I saw, like, some dude, like, was fucking with Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson hit him on a plane. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
That was, like, this year, and somebody was talking. They were, like...
I saw something.
Some celeb was, like, the internet, like, has y'all, like, too comfortable. Like, even, like...
It does.
You're able to say shit and not get, like, smacked for it and stuff. So, like, people... So, people are so quick to, like, chirp on social media and stuff, but, like, when it comes to, like, the face-to-face and, like, the real interactions, like... They're not really, like, about it.
That's one reason why I deleted it. Because I would look at comments and stuff. Not on my posts.
Yeah.
Just on other people's posts.
Yeah.
And people would have these most, like, outrageous... Opinions, but also, like...
shit to say. Everyone's got fucking
conflicts with other people. For no reason.
And that's what I wanted to say, too. Like...
It like,
just,
gives
like,
people
it's
too
so,
much power.
It's so easy to chirp on there and, like... I don't even know.
Like how you just said, he said, social media is making you too comfortable.
Yeah.
These people are too comfortable saying whatever they want to say and fighting about whatever they want to fight about.
Yeah.
And little do they know it's transferring into what they think of themselves.
I remember what I wanted to say too. Like there's like a lot of people that will like, and because we had that platform, like people will like talk about you, but like they're focused because with social media you're always looking at other people, you know, you're looking at other people's lives. Like maybe like sometimes you post your stuff, but mostly it's a window. So like you're always thinking, and people are so quick to judge other people because they're so focused on everybody else's lives, and like they don't focus on themselves and like focus on their life. And it's like you're gonna like talk about somebody else, but it's like, what have you done? Like, and J. Cole has that line. It's like, if you're clowning a millionaire, if you're broken clowning a millionaire, the joke is on you. And it's like, it's so true. Like, so many people like are in the social media world, and like, I like Tyler the Creator has a line too. He's like,
I love Tyler.
He's like, he's saying something about his music, and he's like, just for you to tell me it's not good for your lunch break. Like, there's so many people that are just like in situations that they don't want to be in, and they're like clowning people like more successful than them. Not that it's everything, but it's like you just gotta accept it, because those people that are hating and like judging,
people who are going out of their way to hate and judge, are.
And that shows how they feel about themselves. Like,
literally, no matter how you measure success, whether it's money, fame, or just where an individual is in their life, mentally, physically, spiritually, like,
you just gotta send love to those people.
You gotta send love to those people, and if you don't, you're just sending hate to yourself. Yeah. And it's not saying you have to that's
why you gotta send love to those people, because like really they're just like putting out like self-hate, because I believe like we're all one I think it's like one self, and like we are that self. Like we are like God, the universe, like playing like hide and seek. Playing hide and seek with itself, and like this is all like a game, and like Alan Watts was talking about that too. And it's like there's some people that will like get like really like caught up in the game, be like super stressed out, but it's like that's the fun in it, because like when you wake up it's gonna feel really good, like you know what I mean, like when this life's over and you realize like the play that you were just a part of, like it's gonna feel really good. Just like when you have like a scary dream and you wake up and you're like, oh thank God it was just a dream, you know.
I mean, even with what we were saying before, like with suffering, that's only possible because of suffering you experienced prior to that revelation or realization or idea to whatever situation you're dealing with. Like, the only reason why happiness is so sweet is because we have these moments where things aren't so sweet.
And to tie that with that, it's like, for you to have a bad day, like that means you've had to have a lot of good days for you to like recognize a bad day. And like it's like we're so quick to like take the positives for granted, and then as soon as a negative happens, like we let it like tear everything down,
because we idolize the positives so much. Like, what is the difference between something like a negative emotion and a positive emotion? the distinction between good and bad between them is you coming up with that idea,
it's all
and judging that in that moment, and then thus perpetuating it.
That's why you just gotta see the good and everything, and like not like just see the good and see how it's gonna like shape you, honestly, and like
because at the end of the day, you're coming up with these realities that stress you out over a little chemical reaction in your brain.
Yeah.
Like, all it really is just like emotions are emotions.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I look at it, personally. Like,
they're what make us like
bad.
Human. Yeah.
You know.
And that's what we gotta do. Is just like we gotta realize like how much our brains have been programmed, and like focus on like taking control of our minds. That's something I'm like focused on.
And even
too,
when
like,
you are somewhere good, when you feel like you're somewhere good, like the mistake is to be like, I'm somewhere good.
Yeah.
And like over celebrate that. You can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, that only feeds your ego.
That's something I've been balancing, is like realizing like I'm whole, but like I'm not content where I'm at. Like I want to keep getting out. Like, and I'm being called. I feel like I'm being called out in the world, and like being called to new places, and being called to meet new people and stuff. Like it's like my destiny. Like this is like a part of my journey. Like where like I'm like, you know, like traveling the world, and like this is like, you know, like this is something like people I've wanted to do, like my ancestors I wanted to do, like I could possibly have done in like past lives and stuff. Like just travel and like meet the world and like get to the bottom of this spiritual mystery that like we're in. And like that's something I've been big part of my spiritual journey, just like looking for like the truth. And like when I was younger, like wondering what the afterlife was like, and all those like questions, like where do we come from, like all those things have always like intrigued me so much, like since I was a kid. And like this is just the beginning of like that journey for us, like figuring all those things out. And like it's gonna come by traveling to new places, like going to spiritual powerful spots on the earth, and you know, going within ourselves, meditation. Like, and I think we need to continue since when we're young and like have this free time to like take this time to like do that spiritual work. And like maybe just take a year and just like chill, like take a year to really
call it spiritual or just personal time. It's just important, because I mean that ties in perfectly with what we were saying before, because we're getting the information so we can figure out who we are. But when we're comparing, we don't get to do that. Yeah. So like how you were just saying, it's important to reflect and take that time to look on those qualities of our life and figure out what plays a part in it, and how we can use that to our advantage, how we can avoid disadvantages. Not avoid, but maybe even evolve disadvantages.
I believe that. Like, it's like what we were saying about knowledge is power, and I believe like that's something I want to like just know how the system works, and just like learn about all these things like politics, you know, just the industries, and you know, media, you know. Like, and Russ was talking about it. He was like, I can tell you how the music industry works. He's like, it's like 4 people. He's like, there's a dude at Spotify, a dude at Apple, like, and he's like, you know those people, like, and you get those connections, like you're in. And like, but anyway, I just feel like I want to learn like how stuff works, so then I can just like navigate, you know, and maneuver, like, and then like, so you know, like you don't, like people say ignorance is bliss, but ignorance, like it can lead you to a lot of, you know, like I don't think
that's a quote from a subjective standpoint.
I don't think it's bliss, personally.
I don't think it's bliss either. I mean, it's in the matter, that quote is in the matter of like a person individually, because you disregarding something when they already feel content.
We're gonna wrap it up here. It's been a good pod. it's just been fun flowing and like getting this stuff out.
For sure.
It's definitely been powerful stuff we talked about, and like this is just the beginning of everything.
I love
creatively.
doing this, bro.
Yeah.
I could do this for so long.
It's just the beginning, because like we're just gonna keep growing and like upping everything, and like it's gonna be fun. I think I wrote something like that.
Growth.
Yeah.
Just growth.
And yeah. Just keep on striving, and like just like enjoy the journey, and like we kind of mentioned that earlier, but like there's like that hamster wheel, like college,
Yeah.
High school, college, career, like real life, whatever. So it's just like get off the hamster wheel and just like go along with the journey, like go with the flow, just like keep creating, and don't get caught up in that, like, because like it's not linear. So like this is just we're just on this journey, and this is really the beginning, and it's exciting.
It is very exciting. I think the most important thing to take out of this is, like you said, just take your time.
Yeah.
Just do what you really want to do and what you really value, and figure out what those values are if you don't know what they are. Like, stop obligating yourself to things that destroy your soul.
I think I needed to hear that too, because I've been like recently, I don't know where, I think I just like started like putting like pressure on myself. I think it's funny because I think it came with like more success. Like,
no, for sure.
Once things start getting better, like then you start putting like more pressure on yourself than when it was just like for fun in the beginning, but like
it happens.
That's something I'm coming back to, just like slowing down and like no pressure, and like that thing I was saying about like there's nothing to hold on to, so let go. Like, and like once you let go, like there's so many things like people think when you're like grateful or when you let go or like become spiritual, like that like can like lead to like less things happening, but like really like that brings in the blessings, like, and bring in abundance if that's what you want, like, So
I mean, there are things that you are going to miss out on.
Yeah.
That's just what comes with it. Yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, like the things that I get in return personally, like bring me more value than a little instance of something happening. Like I get more things that are long lasting, and I mean, pressure happens. I mean, I was in a period where I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I mean, I don't think I would have such an understanding now if that didn't happen. And like, I don't think I probably would have been able to give you that message or you that message, or maybe I would have, but not in a way where I myself could truly feel that. And
it's deep.
It's just patience.
Yeah.
It's just letting go, like we talked about before, which is not something to judge yourself on. It's just a thing that happens.
Yeah.
If we're gonna end it off, one thing I want to end it off with is I saw a quote, and it's a reoccurring quote, that becoming aware of your ego, or like overruling your ego and like noticing things in meditation, isn't an accomplishment. It's a practice.
Yeah.
And it's an ongoing practice every single day.
Yeah.
And that's what I meant with like getting in a state of success and being like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like, once you hold yourself to that accomplishment, you create your identity around that. And you're no longer to practice and go through everything in those experiences without feeling obligated to feel some type of way. And it's important.
Expectations we set.
Yeah.
Stuff. And wanting to hold on to like where you're at, and like not just keep flowing.
Exactly. Life. It keeps the patience in check when you can just learn to let that go.
Yeah.
Or practice letting that go, rather than learning for the one time.
We've had like two outros to this.
Yeah.
But that's cool. It's been a great conversation. We're just gonna end it off there. Appreciate you watching. Tell them where they can they could find you? If they wanted to find you.
Honestly, you can't find me anywhere. I'm a little bit of a mystery right now.
Yeah.
But
God bless.
I'll maybe give you a couple of links or something, or my username for some things. Where
if you're bored, check out my other stuff. Go on my Instagram, go on my TikTok.
Do that.
Watch other YouTube videos. There's definitely a lot to think about. Reach out to me. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Do all that good stuff. I love you. Peace out.